Oh, may the words of my mouth, the thoughts of all of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord our God. Amen. One of the greatest privileges that we're very aware of living in the chaplaincy house just here is that from our bedroom we can look out to the Mediterranean over there. And we want to thank those people who decided that a view of the sea for the chaplaincy would be a good wheeze. I can't think of too many other vicars who have as good a view. Most of you will know that on a clear day we can see Morocco, and on a very clear day I calculate we can see more than 100 miles to the mountains above the coast, which go almost directly south from Ceuta. Don't know if I pronounced that right. Of course, looking southeast, which is what you're not doing at the moment, we're looking more southwest. But if you're looking southeast, all you can see is the Mediterranean all the way to the horizon. Any flat earth societies that are still around, and at least according to Wikipedia there are still flat earth societies, and Wikipedia must be right, I suppose, not. I can't believe that they can believe that there is nothing beyond the horizon. They still think that the earth is entirely flat and centred on the North Pole, but some people, I guess, are bonkers. The question was always, and it was that question in the times of Judea, of Jesus' time, just as it is presumably for some of the flat earth people today, the question is always, what is there beyond the horizon? Well, I can tell you, with a pair of binoculars from our balcony, you can see the tops of ships beyond the horizon, where the bottoms are no longer visible. And with maps and a worldview from space, we live with a sound faith that the horizon is not an edge to be feared, but, as I guess those explorers in the 14th, 15th, 16th century found, it was an opportunity to be discovered. And I want to say that's the same with death. Life is either entirely flat with a very precarious edge to it, which we call death, which is the end, like that, or it is more interesting than that. And there is a lot more to come. Stephen, you will have heard the reading from the book of Acts. Stephen is the first martyr because he believes in resurrection. In fact, Luke writes that full of the Holy Spirit, he looks up to heaven and saw the glory of God and Jesus standing at the right hand of God. There we are, the Jesus whom he knew prior to the resurrection is alive after the resurrection. He believes in resurrection, and unafraid he tells that vision to those people who are listening, and death has no sting then. Otherwise, why would he have spoken like that? Otherwise, why not run away? He doesn't. He tells what he sees and has the faith of to be the truth. Peter writes to the Christians of his time some lovely words because they really appeal to you and me now as well. He says, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light." I am no theologian, but the thought that God goes to all the trouble of creating this world here, and you and me particularly, and in those words of Peter, valuing us so much, a chosen people, royal priesthood, holy nation, and then dumping us suddenly at the precarious edge of life called death, and there is nothing after. It all seems ludicrous to me. Instead, God gives us glimpses that take us beyond the horizon, into a faith in a future. You see, I know, as far as anyone who can't see it knows, that the sun, the moon and the stars are still shining beyond that horizon. I really don't have to get into a boat to go there and see in order for it to be proof enough for me. My faith in that light beyond the horizon is entirely secure. In John's Gospel, Christian living is one that is following a way, and that way is a route. It's a route that takes us either, well, here it would be by boat, but you could equally look at the horizon, which is the land horizon, and it takes us beyond that horizon. And we have been Skyping, emailing, WhatsApping our families, all who live beyond horizons in different directions, for the last 8 weeks or more. We don't see them. We just see an image of them on a camera, on a phone or whatever. But we know they are there. We have the faith that they are there. We know solidly that they are there. And if we were able to get that elusive flight, it'll happen one day, from Malaga, we would be able to go and see them beyond the horizon. Christians in the first century were people of the way, and that route is a journey, beloved of John and Luke, a way to where we cannot see, but with faith we know it exists. It exists not least because Jesus promises a home, a room somewhere that he will prepare for us. This is truth. Jesus has the effrontery, and politicians dare not do this today, but Jesus has the effrontery to say, I know the way, I know the truth. He goes beyond that. He says, I am the way and I am the truth. Christian living is living with Jesus, who knows the route and has taken it himself and lives with truth. An incredibly hard thing for us to do, but far better than living with lie all the time. Christian living is that life that comes with Jesus, that is that way, that truth, and that life that leads us to everlasting life. And it's no wonder to me, and it's dangerous phrasing, I suppose, in this day and age, but it's no wonder to me that Jesus says that no one comes to the Father but by me. Because trying to choose an alternative way is to choose a way that focuses on sin. Trying to choose an alternative way that is not focused on truth is to choose a way that is focused on lies. And sin and lies aren't going to be the way to approach the Father. The way to approach the Father is through the salvation of Jesus, who brings life, truth, and a way and a direction that is so positive. Walking the opposite way is a way where death is to be feared. For if you believe nothing about Jesus, life after death is a non-entity. Resurrection is pointless. Then the end of that flat life is the precarious fall off into death. I was speaking today with a lady who is the widow of a man who had no particular religious life at all, but who died last November. And I went to see him. It was a long trip to get there. He was not religious, but after I went and prayed with him, a local friend went in to pray with him every day until he died. They gave him a rosary, and the rosary was cremated with him because he would not let it go. You see, suddenly a light shone in his life, a light that would take him beyond the horizon into something beautiful that he could be sure of. So next time you look at the horizon, and you know by faith anyway that there is life beyond that horizon over there, then know too that there is life beyond death as well, and that you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, and that he has prepared a room for you too. Amen.